Good morning, boys and girls. I have an amazing story to tell you this morning. I was attending a local church school, and we had a wonderful problem. Have you ever heard of a wonderful problem? Well, that's what we had. We had so many students that wanted to learn about God, but the school building was too small for everybody. See, I told you it was a wonderful problem. What were we going to do? Did I hear somebody say, build a bigger school? Yes, that's a great idea. So we went to our friend, Prophet Elisha. He was in charge of overseeing our schools. And we asked him, we said, hey, do you think we should go build a larger school, maybe down by the Jordan River? And there's a lot of good trees there we can cut down and use as the material. And he said yes. So I was so excited. I wanted to be a part of this building project for God. I like to be helpful. I bet you guys like to be helpful too. But there was a problem. I didn't have any tools, and I was going to need an axe to help them cut down trees. You know, axes back then were really expensive. It wasn't like now when you could just go down to your local hardware store and pick up an axe. It wasn't like that. So I did know of a friend whose dad had an axe. I thought maybe I can convince him to let me borrow it. So I went to my friend's dad and I said, hey, do you think maybe I could borrow your axe? I mean, I'm a responsible guy, right? And I'll take good care of it. I promise I will. I won't forget about it and leave it down by the river. I'll bring it back in one piece. And, he thought about it. This is a lot like asking somebody's dad for the keys to their car nowadays. But he decided that, yeah, he would let me do that. Oh, I was so happy. I could join my friends. So I took the axe and joined my friends, and we started down to the river. And we saw Prophet Elisha, and we said, hey, you want to join us down by the river on our project? We liked to have him around. He was always really helpful, and kind, cheerful. He was a great guy to be around. And we were happy that he decided to join us that day. So we got down to the river, and I was scoping out all the trees. Got to find the perfect one. And I found one that was big, and it was tall, and it was straight. And I thought, now that's the one that I'm going to cut down. Maybe they'll even use it as one of the main beams in the new school. So, I'm not a very big guy or anything, but I was going to give it all I had for the Lord. So I started swinging my borrowed axe. Ugh! That was a lot of work. Ugh! Whoops! Oh no! Oh, this terrible thing happened. I was left there holding just the handle. And then I heard a splash behind me in the river. And I turned to look, and I could see the water rippling. I could see just where that axe head must have slipped in the water. Oh, this is a terrible problem. It's like crashing the car and not having insurance to pay for it. What was I going to do? I'd probably have to drop out of school. Maybe go work for my friend's dad without pay, just to pay for the axe. Very expensive. Well, the axe heads are made out of iron, at least mine was, and iron is really heavy. Do your mom or dad have an iron skillet at home? They're really heavy. If they do, you should pick it up and see how heavy it is. Now, if iron falls into water, it's going to sink, right? My axe head sunk down. And I mean, it's like a big rock. Now the Jordan River is a very muddy river. In fact, you might remember that Naaman, Elisha asked him to go wash in the river 7 times if he wanted to be healed from his leprosy. Naaman didn't want to at first. It sounded like a bad idea because it was a muddy river. There was no way that I was going to be able to see that or find that axe head, even if I could dive down. And then if I could do that, I couldn't carry or swim up with a big heavy object like a rock all the way back to shore. It was impossible. Now when I cried out, "Oh no!" Elisha, he heard me. And he came running. He's like, "Hey man, what happened?" So I told him, I'm like, "I borrowed it, man. I promised I'd bring it back safely." Told him I was responsible. And I showed him where it fell in the river. Well, you won't believe what Elisha did. It's a strange thing. He cut a stick off of a tree, and then he threw it right where I showed him. Pointed out where it had landed, that axe head. And you know, right after he did that, it was like a magnet, that stick. And the axe head just floated up to the top where that stick was. And then it floated towards us. No, it like swam towards us. That axe head swam. And I just saw it coming, and Elisha's like, "Go ahead, pick it up." So I picked up that axe head. I was so thankful. No, I told you, Elisha was a great guy to be around. But do you know why he's so great? He's so great because his God is so great. His God, my God, your God cares about our difficulties. It's amazing. You know, Jesus came and he rescued us from the dirty, dark, deep waters of sin that we're buried in. And he came, and on a stick much bigger than this, he died on a cross. And he saved us. I'd like to read you a couple Bible verses. Psalms 120, verse 1. "In my distress, I called to the Lord, and he answered me." Boys and girls, if you're in distress, you call on the Lord, he will answer you. Psalms 103, verses 2 through 4. "Praise the Lord, I tell myself, and never forget the good things that he's done for me." Boys and girls, I will never forget the good thing that that God did for me on that day. And I would love to hear what good things God has done for you. "He forgives all my sins and heals all my diseases. He saves me from death and surrounds me with love and tender mercies." Boys and girls, the next time you get a chance to go out to the ocean, maybe a lake or a stream, and you're throwing in rocks, tossing sticks into the water, I want you to think about how great our God is.